Hello and welcome to yet another Pro Football Spot Seahawks Google Handout. We're a man down tonight with Ken loaded up with college work. So it's just myself and Ryder. How we doing there, Ryder?
Great as always.
Nice. How's Seattle today?
It's actually pretty sunny over here.
Yeah, nice. That's not making me jealous at all. Right, first off, are you surprised? Just a quick summary of what's happened in Seahawks land since last spoke. Are you surprised that Cam's missing a game this weekend?
Not at all.
No.
It's kind of looking like we'll hold out for maybe a couple more weeks, but it seems like the team itself is kind of split into two camps in a way, where some believe he really will hold out the season, but Richard Sherman actually just said recently today that he didn't expect Cam to hold out too long. He expected him to play this season.
Yeah, well, have you seen the picture of Marshall wearing his jersey? Cam's jersey today, isn't it? So it's clearly, like you said, it's clearly people who support him more publicly than others. I think everyone expects him to be back, and I expect him to be back before, at least in camp by now. Even if he missed this Sunday, the fact that he's missing and still yet to report is a bit of a worry. But I guess if we go and stomp out the Rams on Sunday night, then it could change his point of view and definitely decimate his leverage. What were your thoughts on the 53 that we've going into Sunday with? There's a few surprises, I thought. Obviously, with Turbin release was probably not much of a surprise, but the fact that Michael was traded, Tukuafu made the cut, Kaysen and Kevin Smith, they ended up in the practice squad. BJ Daniels is around. Will Blackman was cut as well, obviously. Your thoughts on the 53 as a whole?
Yeah, the running back position getting kind of cleared out there, that was quite a surprise. I mean, I think it will be a strong group. Fred Jackson, he is kind of up there in age, but he's I don't think he had a season last year. And then Thomas Rawls, obviously, he was promising throughout training camp in the preseason. I think maybe my least favorite decision may have been T.Y. McGill not being kept. I thought he showed a lot of promise with, he was getting into the backfield a decent amount of stuff.
Yeah. And the Colts picked him up, didn't they? I mean, I think if 6 or 7 of the players they cut last Saturday have found new NFL teams. I think Singleton was the last one. He's ended up on the Patriots, I think, isn't he? Practice squad of the Patriots? Singleton?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Right, so before we crack on with the predictions, what are your thoughts heading into Sunday? Are you confident of a 1-0 start? Or?
I would say that I am pretty confident. With St. Louis's running attack being kind of out of commission, both Trey Mason looking pretty doubtful and Todd Gurley pretty unlikely to play. I mean, I think that was probably their biggest strength on offense. With an uncertain Nick Foles. He had, the great 2013 and then the average at best 2014 before he was injured. And that offensive line is probably one of the worst in the league. And
well, they spent most of their draft picks on building that offensive line. Obviously, Jake Long isn't there anymore, and the rest of them are pretty much rookies or young players, aren't they? So
yeah, they're investing in the future, but for right now, it's going to be really rough for them.
Yeah, I don't think Foles has set the world alight in preseason either, has he? So I am pretty confident, even with all the Cam stuff going on in the background. I'm quite confident. I think after last year, we probably owe them one, to be honest, with all the phantom punts and the fake punts and all sorts that they pulled out. But yeah, so I'm quite confident we sit here on Monday and we'll be 1-0, I think, heading into Green Bay Sunday Night Football. Carry on.
What I would say is that we're going to need to be wary of their defensive line as always. They've been a terror to Russell Wilson pretty much his entire career so far, and their defense as a whole is not bad at all.
Yeah.
So it could be a struggle.
Yeah. I mean, especially we still don't really know what we've got in our offensive line either, do we? When you're facing 4, maybe all 5 of them are first-round picks along that line, it's a pretty daunting and pretty thorough test straight off the bat. I mean, also you got Aaron Donald, Chris Long, Robert Quinn, you got Michael Brockers. They picked, I think, Nick Fairley. They picked up in the off-season, didn't they, as well? So it's a pretty impressive unit. Janoris Jenkins on the outside, who's hit and miss, but he's a playmaker when he gets the ball. He gets a chance at the ball. So yeah. Right. Let's start off from. Let's start off with the more general one. What are your thoughts by the time the new year rolls around? After 16 games are played, what are you pinning down as the Seahawks record is going to be?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say 13-3. There are going to be a few tough games. I'm hoping we get revenge on Dallas this year for last year's loss.
Yeah.
That's probably the big one.
Yeah.
And we were, of course, facing Baltimore and, well, I guess just the entire AFC North. And
yeah, so I'm guessing that you think that's number 1 seed then, yeah? NFC number 1 seed.
Yeah.
I can see that. So what 3 games would you put as us losing then on the 16 you see?
I think Baltimore might end up being our hardest. Either Baltimore or Steelers.
And that's in Baltimore, isn't it? That the Ravens game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I think with a healthy Carson Palmer, the Cardinals have a legitimate shot at getting us this year.
Yeah, I think as we owe the Cowboys one, I think they owe us one, don't they? For what we did to them on Sunday Night Football. And Marshall Lynch had that run. So yeah, I'm going to be a little less confident. I think it'll be enough to win the West. Will it be enough to get number 1 seed? I'm going to go 11-5. I think I agree with the Ravens. I think the Bengals could be a tough out. The Packers are always going to be tough when they play at Lambeau. I don't see us going 6-0 in the NFC West because just how the games shake out with the bye week isn't early, but it's a little late. So yeah, I think 11-5. I can't pin I think the AFC North this year is going to be a tough out. The Browns, you just don't know what they're going to do. You don't know what they're going to be like in 7-8 weeks, however long it is until we play them. But yeah, 11-5. I think it'll be enough to win the West. Probably be enough to get a bye because I think the NFC South isn't going to present much past 9-7 probably as their winner. The rest of the Saints ready to put it together. NFC East is probably Eagles or Cowboys. They could kill each other. And the same probably in the North with the Packers and the Vikings. You know, with Peterson back there, Bridgewater in his second year, the defense looks quite good in Minnesota. So 11-5, second, third seed in the NFC. I'll go. Who would you peg as someone to watch as a possible Seahawks offensive MVP? Who's going to have the biggest impact on the offensive side of the ball this year?
This year, I'm going to go ahead and say Marshawn Lynch just because he's really been a staple. I think he's perhaps more of a glue for this offense than Russell Wilson is at times. He really tires out the defense. There's just something about him. I think he helps fire up the offense. He just keeps going. He doesn't go down after the first hit, and I think just the way he goes about playing, I think it's a motivating force. Yeah,
I think I'll agree with you there. I think he's probably more likely to have the big outbreak of the season. So I think Lynch. If we are to be successful, obviously it will help if Wilson stays healthy and upright. But I think if we're to have a 13-3 or 11-5 season, it's going to come down to what 24 does more than what number 3 does. So yeah, I think I'll agree with you on that. that point. Flipping it over, defensive MVP for Seahawks. Who do you think is going to be the biggest impact?
That's such a hard question to answer because there's just so many good players on the defense. But I'm going to go with Bobby Wagner, and in the middle. He got that MVP vote last year, and I mean, a lot of people were upset about it because linebackers, especially the 4-3 type, they kind of, some people see them as losing value, but really the impact he made was so apparent when the points per game, I think, dropped by 6 the moment he came back for the rest of the season after his injury. And he's just all around a stud. So, I mean, I'm going to go with Wagner.
Yeah, I think it is one of them. You can pick a raffle, you pick a name out of the raffle, you're probably going to be quite close. I think for me, he's going to give him a decision to make. I think it might be Michael Bennett. I think Bennett, the way he was in the Super Bowl, once Cliff Aver went out, was it late third or early fourth quarter, the press rush just disappeared because they just triple teamed Bennett, and we had no one else to step up. Obviously, we had injuries back there, but I think Michael Bennett could be, if he needs one, I think he could be set for a breakout season. Double figures in sacks, I actually believe he could easily muster with the options and with probably the heavy rotation they're going to use with Rubin and Hill, Mebane, Clark, Marsh. So I think Wagner, Sherman will probably be obviously around there, Earl probably as well. But for me, Michael Bennett will be the defensive MVP for us. Just right there. Right, Russell Wilson, obviously he ran for about 6,000 miles last year. So on the passing scale, last year he threw for 3,475 yards according to NFL.com. Do you see him surpassing that with obviously Jimmy Graham added in? He's going to free up probably Doug Baldwin and Tyler Lockett, obviously Richardson to come back. So do you see him surpassing that? Going over 3,400?
I would say it's going to happen. Maybe not by a huge amount. Maybe like in the range of 3,700 to 3,800 yards. He'll probably also see a decrease in his rushing yards. Really, Jimmy, he's going to take, the pressure off of Doug Baldwin, like you said. Tyler Lockett, he's going to probably come out more and more as the season wears on.
Yeah. On his first 3 years, he's going for 31. I say it's minimal each year, but he hasn't had Jimmy Graham those first 3 years. So if you'd put a number, not round it up as if you want, what would the number be that you would expect him to hit this year, just passing yards?
For passing yards?
Yeah.
37 to 3,800.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think he'll be. I know he's not asked to run, but I don't see him getting the 850 yards he got last year. I don't see him getting anywhere near to that this year. So I think I'd probably go a little bit more minimal. I think 3,600. It doesn't really matter as long as he doesn't turn the ball over. He could throw for 1,900. We'll probably still be able to win games, you'd expect, but we'll see. Marshawn Lynch. Same question, I guess. Last year, he ran for 1,300 yards. He's obviously got an extra year in his legs. He's been probably more rested. He's got a fuller off-season workout than he got last year. Do you see him getting close to that number and surpassing it?
My guess would be closer to the 1,100 to 1,200 range. With how much, with his age and all that, and with the recent signing of Fred Jackson, I think he might give a little bit more second-team carries up, and depending on how reliable they feel Thomas Rawls will be with the ball, he might even get more carries than Christian Michael did last few years. Yeah,
but I think I'm good. I'm really surprised that they actually did bring Fred Jackson on board, or with all the Turbin moves and Michael? I guess it's less a surprise, really, wasn't it? Right. Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you on Marshall Lynch. I think he probably won't get. He might. I think it'll be close. It would like Wilson be minimal. I think I'm going to agree with you. And 1100 to 1200, I think, would be more the stratosphere he's in. We'll move over to the rookies. Obviously, the first two picks we had in the draft in April were Frank Clark and Tyler Lockett. Both have had pretty big impacts in pre-season. First off, Frank Clark. 2012 saw Bruce Irvin get 8.5 sacks in his rookie year. Do you see Clark having a similar? In his rookie year?
I would say I see him
still passing.
I would say I would see him hitting about 5 or 6 sacks. I don't think he's going to quite reach the Bruce Irvin level, but I think he'll have more of an impact in the run game.
Yeah, he's a big dude. He's bigger than Bruce Irvin is. He's broader probably than Bruce Irvin is as well. So yeah, I think he'll get close to. I think 6 or 7. I think he'll get. It'll be impressive if he gets to Irvin's total, but I think 6 or 7. Moving over to Tyler Lockett, the other early draft pick. Obviously, it's going to be big in the return game first and foremost. How many times do you see him getting returns all the way into the end zone? How many do you see him doing it? Do you see him carrying his preseason form on, or do you see it just be?
I don't think he's going to be quite as he'll end up in the end zone as much, but it'll still probably be 3 to 4 times, 5 times if he's having a great season.
Everybody's not going to work like they needed to work. And we forward and hunger to match the guy across. That's why we'll show all that. The consistent greatness that they have and hunger that they bring everything.
Just 4 weeks is not something. More than likely not. Anyway, Ryder, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Yeah. What do you wide receiver? Obviously, we've got more options. You can include Jimmy in this if you want to. Who do you think is going to have the most touchdowns for our offense this year?
Well, if we're gonna go with receivers and include Jimmy Graham, it just feels natural to say Jimmy Graham. I mean, he's one of the best red zone receivers in the NFL, both as at tight end. So it just makes too much sense to say him.
How many do you reckon? How many do you reckon you'll get?
How many? With how our offense is, I want to say maybe 9 or 10.
Okay. Yeah. I think I'll agree with that. I'm going to be a little bit less optimistic. I think it'll be Jimmy, definitely be Jimmy, but I think he's going to get 7 or 8. I think with Marshall Lynch back there, I think they didn't really have a running back like Marshawn in who could carry it. They had a bit more of a committee in New Orleans, so I think 7 or 8 will be enough, and it'll be a lot of fun to watch. Yardage-wise, what our receivers and Jimmy, who do you see being the leading receiver? I think it's been a few years since we had a 1,000-yard receiver. So just see, first off, to see anyone surpassing that, and if you don't, who is going to be closest?
I don't think it'll be past this year, but if anyone's going to get closest, it would be Jimmy. But if we're just sticking to wide receivers, I would have to go with Doug Baldwin.
You can do. So do you think Doug will get more yards than Jimmy?
No, but I think it'll be. I think the difference will be probably Jimmy ahead by like 100 to 200 yards.
Yeah. So what? So I can like 900 yardage then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think those are obviously the two clear front runners for that. And I think 750 would probably be where we see Doug again. And Jimmy, it just depends how quickly that chemistry strikes up, I think. So, sorry. Who do you think is going to get their hands on the ball the most on the defensive side? Obviously, interceptions. Sherman's leading the league over the last 4 years or something, some ridiculous numbers. So do you see that carrying on? Do you see Sherman being the guy who gets the most interceptions again, or do you see someone else stepping up?
Yeah. I think he's got good hands as far as defensive backs go.
Yeah.
But teams are gonna try and test him because they want to try and find some weakness in his game. And I mean, there are a couple that will be caught every now and then, but I think he can lure them into making mistakes as well.
And also, we haven't seen, as you say, with his hands, we haven't seen anyone with that back there in the secondary. Obviously, we don't really know what we've got in Kerry Williams. Darryl Simon has had chances and has had a bit of stone hands. Earl has had so many chances, and he really should have double the interceptions he's got so far. So I think Sherm is probably the cliche answer, but he's probably the easiest and probably will be the right answer for the end of the season. Going the broader sense at NFL, who do you think is going to be the NFL MVP league-wide? This is a lot of people are picking Andrew Luck, but do you agree with that, or if not, who do you reckon?
I pick it. I would say it might be Aaron Rodgers again, actually.
Yeah. Even without Jordy.
Yeah, I think the coaching over there, especially for the receivers and passing attack as a whole, is really good. He's got Eddie Lacy at his disposal. Still got Randall Cobb. Devontae Adams supposed to be doing pretty well in his development.
Yeah,
I think they'll. I think he can get it again. He's definitely the best quarterback in the league, I think.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with that. I think if he gets Green Bay back into the divisional, even if he wins the division as easy as he did last year, without Jordy Nelson, without really a recognisable tight end, as we sit here right now, I think Rodgers is the safest and probably most likeliest bet for the MVP this year. I think if you're looking elsewhere with Rodgers, Brady's probably going to be there or thereabouts because he always is. Peterson maybe, but you don't know how he's going to be with a year out. He might be refreshed, or he might be closing in on that wall that running backs seem to hit. It's unlikely, but it's just it's more likely than not. But yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers will be the MVP of the NFL. Offensive Rookie of the Year of the NFL. Who do you see that as being? I think the bookmakers and the gambling sorts have. I think it's Amari Cooper as the current favourite. Would you agree with that, or if not, who would you look at?
I would. A lot of my other favorites, they've been kind of sidelined with injuries. Both the top two tight ends are out. Not that tight ends always have that great of a chance, but also Devontae Parker and Kevin White, they've had trouble getting on the field so far. Todd Gurley, as previously mentioned, also dealing with injuries.
Yeah.
If he was healthy, I would easily pick Todd Gurley because I'm a pretty big fan of what he did in college. But the way he is now, it's not going to happen.
Not Melvin Gordon then, no?
No way. Not definitely not after the way he ran against the Seahawks.
No, he didn't show a lot, did he? it's not on the list, but who do you think's going to win more games this year, Winston or Mariota?
Oh man, that's a hard choice. It seems like Winston was kind of struggling more in the preseason, but at the same time, he has like Mike Evans and Vincent Jackson, as well as
and Mariota has Delaney Walker and Kendall Wright, and obviously we've got DGB as well.
mhm.
I think
Yeah,
I think with the division, I think I would probably peg it as Winston to win more games,
Yeah.
just because they've got the Panthers twice, they've got the Falcons twice, the Saints twice. They're probably going to play the Bears, I'm guessing, and then they've got the Redskins as well, and that easily could be 4 or 5 wins right there.
but I kind of want to. I think I lean towards Mariota actually because he's got the better offensive line and maybe less of a receiving core, but if depending on how their running back situation turns out, it might be a solid like duo or trio of backs that can help him out. And quite frankly, Doug Martin is a question mark at best for the Bucs.
Yeah. I think it is probably will be a toss-up. There's a very good chance that they end up with both 4 or 5 wins. I don't see either of them making the playoffs.
Yeah.
My offensive rookie of the year would probably be Cooper. I'd have said Gordon before preseason started, just because of how the offense is in San Diego. But after watching against us, he didn't. He seemed a little dazed and confused with what he was being asked to do. So, and Cooper's just looked the part the minute he walked on. The only thing that's going to hold Cooper back is the team he's on, to be quite honest, because I think if they can go out and get anywhere near 500, a big reason of that is going to be Amari Cooper, I think, and also the quarterback. Defensive Rookie of the Year, who do you see that being?
I wish I could say Frank Clark, but I don't think he's going to get quite enough time on the field to prove that he is. Yeah. But if I had to pick anyone else, I think I might go with Vic Beasley. I think he could very well be the next Von Miller.
Wow. Yeah, I think he's in 2 of my fantasy teams. So I've got IDP in 2 of my leagues, and he's on my team. I think with Dan Quinn as well. Obviously, we saw what he did with Bennett and Averill and Irvin and KJ Wright to a certain extent. Obviously, I think it's more of a 3-4 he's winning over there. Is it a 3-4 he's winning that, aren't they?
I think they.
It's a bit of a hype, yeah. So I think Beasley is probably the best positioned. Elsewhere for Beasley, defensive rookie. Leonard Williams, obviously, I don't know what his health status is like. I haven't really seen any news on him since the draft. The players he's got around him, that defensive line in New York, could lead to something big. Apart from that, obviously, if Frank Clark could say anywhere near the defensive rookie of the year, then he's had some season. But I think Beasley is probably the safest bet at this point. NFL Coach of the Year. Do you think this will be the year that Pete gets his due?
If they go 13-3, like I'm hoping they will, I think he will. But otherwise, it may be it may stay within the division with Bruce Arians over in Arizona. Just what he does with what they have on that team has been astounding.
Yeah, I'd like you say, I'd hope it would be Pete, but I think someone who could get it would be Zimmer in Minnesota. He's got Peterson back, obviously. With receivers, hoping they do, because Teddy Bridgewater is probably my favourite player in that draft. 2 years ago. So I hope he finally comes good. Moving it back to Seattle, who do you think is going to be the biggest surprise on the Seattle roster this season? Who do you think is going to be the T.Y. McGill of regular season? Who's going to come out of nowhere and have an impact that was not, if not expecting, that no one's talking about yet?
I would like to say Ty Smith at cornerback. He seemed to come a long way from early reports in training camp saying he looked kind of out of place till he had some really nice moments in the preseason. He didn't look perfect or anything, but if he can develop really quickly, I think he could really end up being a surprise, and that'd be really welcome in the secondary, I think.
Yeah. I quite like that pick. I think that's quite good. That's because, like, as you say, at the start of training camp, there's people saying he's going to do well to make the 53, and he's probably number 2 nickel, and would you say number 3 beyond Kerry Williams, probably opposite Sherm, behind him and Simon, would you say?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so he's obviously got a long way, not a long way, but he's got a bit of a way to make an impact. But I think that makes sense. For me, it's someone I picked as my player to watch for a couple of preseason games. I think it's Kevin Pierre-Louis, whichever one. He looked good. The small sample we got to see last year before he got injured, he still looks as quick as anything. I think he's going to make the decision on Bruce Irvin a little easier than we probably expect it's going to be. So yeah, I think KPL will be someone who will step up in the defense, and this time next year we'll be talking about it in a completely different way. What do you make of KPL this year?
What?
What do you make of KPL this year?
If he gets more time, I'm going to be really excited to see that. Like you said, in his short time last year before his injury, he looked really nice, and coming out of the draft, I thought he was a bit underrated. But I mean, he's really the type of player that the coaches in Seattle like to work with, and they've been really rewarded so far by taking a shot on him, and I think the rewards are just going to keep coming in.
Yeah. Do you think it'll be 3 out of 3 for Super Bowls this year?
That's such a hard pick, just because everything changes once you hit the playoffs, it seems like. But I think so. It's I think we're the best team in the NFC at this point. I think once we get our wheels really going, like we tend to do, we're occasionally, it seems like we're a bit of a slow start team, but usually around mid to late season, we really get rolling, and we start running over teams at times.
Yeah, because even last year, I mean, after the Kansas City game, people were written, even the Seahawks fans and media were writing us off. And then we also got Bobby back, we got Cam back healthy, and that was all she wrote for the rest of the year. It was a pretty near historic run the defense went on. So yeah, I think we are slow starters. I think I'll agree with you. I think we are the best team in the NFC, even if Cam Chancellor holds out all season. I think we're still the best team in the NFC. Obviously, injuries prevailing, but I think I'm going to agree with you again. I think the Seahawks make. It doesn't happen in the NFL, but if any team is going to do it, I think it's going to be these. I think. So we got. Who do you think is going to be the AFC team in the Super Bowl?
For the AFC team, I kind of want to say it's going to be a rematch of the Super Bowl from 10 years ago, actually,
Nice.
because just with how prolific that Steelers offense was looking at times last year, if the development continues on some of their younger wide receivers, they could be really, really scary on offense. Their defense is definitely a weakness right now, but it could overcome.
They are going to be in shootouts more often than not, aren't they, with that defense? If they win games, they're going to have to score 30 points most weeks, aren't they?
Definitely.
Yeah. I've had a wager on this. I think the Patriots. I think as long as Mr. Brady is in town, they're always going to be. I think this could quite easily be tonight. The AFC title game in 19 weeks. For all the reasons you give for Pittsburgh being, but how fun would that be if it's a Pittsburgh to see a Super Bowl 10 years on as well? I think if we get to the title game and Steelers win the AFC title, I think we should fly in Bill Levy to do the 12th man flag. Fine. Who do you see being our biggest challenger in the NFC West this year? Arizona, I'm going to guess, from the Arians pick earlier.
Yeah. I think it's pretty obvious from what I've been saying this entire time. The Cardinals, they've got a lot going right now with their coaching. They've got some good young players, as well as Larry Fitzgerald still playing fairly well. It should be interesting to see if the growth under Bruce Arians continues this year.
Yeah, I think because the only thing that really let them down last year was having Ryan Lindley or whoever it was start a playoff game for them. I think that's the only thing that probably stopped them having even a chance at a run, I think. I think Arizona. I think Foles is going to hold back the Rams. I think the 49ers are going to be a mess this year. I think that is pretty close to exploding everywhere. I think it's a power of the keg a bit in Seattle with the Cam Chancellor and Michael Bennett situations, but that team without Jim Harbaugh won them 2 or 3 games the last 4 years. When the talent will probably, Patrick Willis wasn't the same player the last couple of years as he was before that. So I think Arizona will be our biggest challenges. And finally, coming back to this Sunday, score prediction for Sunday.
Score prediction?
Yeah.
I want to say it's going to be 24-10.
24-10, good guys, yeah? I think I'd agree with that. I'll probably say 24-13 there. So I just think we'll have too much for them, but our defense is a bend but don't break one. And obviously, as we said, it's a slow starting team generally. So I think 24-10, 24-13 is probably about right. And then we're on to Green Bay and Sunday Night Football. But yeah, that's the preview. The projections out of the way. They'll be written up in article forms for people to read. If for those who don't want to sit through this when it's archived, there'll be probably quite a few. It's an obvious question, but are you looking forward to Sunday?
Oh, it's been a long time coming. There's very few words to describe just how awesome it is to have football back for real.
Yeah, definitely it is. I'm not that excited about the one tonight because they're going to unfurl a banner. We were 1 yard away from having an art possession, so it's not really very nice when they do that. But it's good to have it back. Warms up the cold nights and everything. So yeah, I can't wait for Sunday. I can't wait for it's 6 o'clock over here. The kickoff, and it cannot come quick enough. Yeah, I just like to thank. That's it for tonight. We're going to try and do a few more of these during the season. Probably do one Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week to have a look back at the Rams game and hopefully have some positive news. Again, Tyler, for joining us. Enjoy the
Huh?
joining me again tonight.
Didn't catch that. Kind of faded out there.
I just wrapping up. Just like to thank you for joining me again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We're going to try and do this probably Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe with the guy from Madison, Ken. Hopefully he's not too busy to join the likes of us too. But yeah, enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy the game on Sunday, and hopefully it'll be a Seahawks win. We'll be talking about next time we reconvene.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cheers, Flat Rider. See you later.
Yep. Bye.
Yeah.